Hello guys, let's get right into it. Today we're going to have part 1 of my mini series where we're going to integrate the Spotify API with our Django backend. So the aim of this video is for us to get the current song that is playing from my Spotify API, whereby we can get the information such as the ID, the title which is Rhythm, the artist, the duration of the song, the time that it's at the moment, the album cover, and whether it's playing or not. So everything that is here is what will be in my Spotify account. As you can see here, the song that is playing is Rhythm by Dave. Yes, so that's basically it. So first of all, I hope that you have your Python installed. After that, install MySQL Workbench or server from its respective sites. Once you have that, there are several dependencies that I would like us to install. First of all, pip install Django. I have them installed, therefore there's no need for me to run them. Once you have pip install Django, you can install Django REST framework. After Django REST framework, you should also install py MySQL. And after installing py MySQL, you can install requests. So I have everything installed. And once you do, let's get into creating a project. Once you have all the dependencies installed, you can start the project and start up. I'll call my project Spotify and my app API. So once it has been created, we can move into it and create an app. I'll call it API. If you open, it's inside here. Yes, so the first thing we need to do is to add the REST framework auth token and the API app into the apps in the settings.py. We then come to the settings, then to the installed apps. So we'll start with REST framework and then the API apps, that's API config, which is in here. Yes, that. Once you've done that, you can add the py MySQL to the init.py in our Spotify app. So you import py MySQL. So having set that up, we should create a database in our MySQL workbench. I'll call it Spotify. And so I created a new one, Spotify 1, new Spotify. If we show the tables, we have nothing because we haven't set up anything yet. So now let's go to our settings.py and connect the Django to the MySQL database. Spotify 1. Ideally, this is how your database should look like: the name of your database, the user, the password, and the host. And here, having done this, let me create a new file under the API that I'll call credentials.py. It's going to store all the important information that I will need for connecting to the Spotify API. Those are three different, two key and one redirect URI, as you will see shortly. Here I'll just save them as 1, 2, and 3 before we get the actual information. Having done that, let me create now an extras.py file that will store all the other utility files that I'll require, and also create an urls.py that will hold the URLs from our views. Having done that, now let me create our first model that will be our token model to store all the information that we will potentially get from the Spotify API. So now let me create a model called token, and it will inherit from the models module. So it will take in 6 fields. The first one being user, which will have the session ID that will be provided by the session key that we'll create. Now I've created it. Here is our token model. Once we have our token model, we can make the migrations and migrate such that this model here will be a table in the database that we created using MySQL. Yes, create model token. Let's migrate. With that, you can check the MySQL now. Let's show the tables. Yes, you see everything has been created. The token table in the API app has been created to and all other Django tables. Let us now go to the views.py and create some views that you're going to use to get the Spotify API data. Well, first we need to import something. Start with first framework. So we're going to inherit from API view once we create the classes. From credentials, we're going to import the 3 variables we created, which were client secret and redirect URI. That we're going to create our first view, which will be our authentication view. I'm going to define a get request, instantiate it. First, you're going to create the scopes. I'll fill them in a few. Then we're going to create a URL variable. Get a request. Get, this is the URL that I'm going to connect us to a user's Spotify account in order to authorize the user. And we're going to set some parameters. The scope, which will be the scopes that I'm putting. The response type. We want a code. This code that you're going to get in the URL is what you're going to help us know whether or not this user has been authenticated. The redirect URI, the client ID. I want it to be prepared and we get it as a URL. And then we'll return. So basically what will happen in the scopes that you're going to put in here, we want to request for a URL from Spotify once a user has been authenticated, take us to a certain endpoint, and this endpoint is the URL that is being prepared here. Once we get that URL, we want it to be redirected in our browser by Django, and that is the URL that you're going to see again. So basically what you're doing, sending this URL with these parameters. Once you send it, you're going to get a URL, and this URL is what you're going to redirect it to our browser, and we shall see as we continue. So first, let's put in the scopes that we want. If you come here to Spotify for developers, the documentation, count player, so we want to get whether the currently playing track, and we could add start, resume, playback, pause playback, and to get the playback state. So first you can put the user read currently playing. So these are the authorization scopes there. That's the first. Get playback state. That's the second. So you just make sure that in the space you modify. Once this has been done, we go to extras.py. So the first thing we're going to do in extras.py is to import the token of.modems. And then something that we're going to require will be the time zone and time delta. So the first thing we're going to do here is to create a base URL that will help us to get all the Spotify API call that will be. Once we have that, the first thing we're going to do is to check whether the tokens exist. So check tokens. It's going to be a function that will help prevent repetition of some lines. So define a check tokens, taking a session ID. First, let's see, get the tokens. If tokens, we return tokens 0. False, return that. You can put it this way or write none, whichever. Once we have that, let's create a function that is going to take in all the details that we need about model, create and update the models. We'll call it going to pass in the session ID, access token, token type. The first thing you're going to check are the tokens. Then we're going to get the exact time that the tokens will expire. So expires in time zone now. So whatever we're going to get in second, then we'll add it to the time zone at the time that we're in to get the time that it should have expired. So next thing you're going to do is to update the tokens if they exist. So if tokens, if they exist. If they don't exist, create a new token altogether. After this, let's go back to our views.py and create a function called Spotify redirect. This redirect is what we'll get once a user has been authorized by Spotify. The first thing we're going to get is the code from the URL that we receive from the authentication URL that we are requesting for. So code request. If we don't get a code, we'll get an error. If error, we'll just return the error. Next, we're going to create a post request that will have a URL that will give me a response with the details of the Spotify token. We can call it response. But put in the URL. All these URL are found in the Spotify API documentation, as you will see. Once we can create data parameters, we need a grant type, authorization code. The code itself will be code we got as one of our parameters from the previous URL that we see. Redirect URI, client ID, and the client secrets. And everything is JSON. Name of posts. From requests, you can add posts. Not with the responsibility to get the access token, the refresh token, expires in, and token type. So you give them their own variable names. Once you have this, we have to create a session because that will act as a user in the model service we had created here. You need to put true. We have to check if the session actually exists. If not, we create a session if it doesn't exist and create a new auth key. Having done this, we have to create or update the tokens. So import everything from extras. Now you can come here after and put create or update tokens, session by view, and everything else will follow the same. So auth ID, auth key. Once you've created or updated the token, we're going to create a redirect URL that is going to take us to the URL of the current solve, where we're going to see the details of the solve. Don't just call it redirect URL. Since we don't have the URLs at the moment, I'll leave it blank. And then return with CTP response direct URL. Next, we're going to create a check authentication function that is going to check whether a user has been authenticated by Spotify. So I'm going to pass it for now because we have to create some functions in the extras.py that will help us check whether the user has been authenticated and steps to which we are going to take whether once the user has been authenticated or not. I hope you can see how the extras.py has helped me functionize the steps that are repetitive. For example, check tokens, and now we're going to create a new function. I'll call it Spotify authenticated. I'll select get a new session ID. So the first thing you're going to secure the tokens. Once you have the tokens, you have to check if they exist. And if they do, we have to check whether or not they have passed the expiring time. Time is now. We're going to pass at the moment because we're going to create a function that will refresh the token. I'm going to return true. So we're going to return false. So let's create the refresh token function. So the first thing we want to get is the refresh token. The refresh token. Once you have that, you have to create a post request to help us get new information from the access token, the expired and the token type. Again, these URLs are found in the Spotify API documentation. Go to passing data. We need a grant type. We need the client ID, client secrets. So you need to import the client ID, client secret, and also the push request. So once you get the response, you get to do the same thing as we did here in the views.py, which is get this information, the access token, expiring token type, and create your updates token. But you can see what is happening. Everything is okay. So that let's complete the check authentication review. The first thing you want to get your victim. Self, that request you have to use self, which is a class. Same process. We create a new session and then we get the session key. So now with this, let's get the authentication status. Spotify authenticated with this key, allow session key. And then with this if false status, we will be redirected to the credentials of our soul. So again, since you don't have the URLs, just blank and return else. So this one will redirect us to authentication. So with this, I believe we can conclude the part one of this short series. And let me explain briefly what we have done. So the first thing we've done is that we created the authentication URL. This URL takes in the scopes, the response type, which is good, the redirect URI, and the client type. So it's going to prepare a URL. So we're not posting anything, we're going to get a URL. Once you get this URL, this HTTP response redirect will bring to redirect this URL that we're using from Spotify onto our screens, onto our web browser. So from there, as you will see, we're going to authenticate the user, enter your email, password for Spotify. Once you get that, the Spotify redirects that we know that is going to be and it reads some parameters, the code that you get here, or an error if it's if error, return error. So we're going to help posts a URL to accounts web.spotify.com/API/token with this data. We could the grant take authorization code so one to get and the direct URI client type fancy bit. So this this URL is correct. It's going to give us IP information from the Spotify API of the access token, the refresh token, expires the head token type. Once we get that, we're going to create a session key which will act as our primary in our model that we created here. And then we're going to create or update the tokens that we created with the extras.py. So now if they already exist, they're going to be updated. Else, once we get that, directed to the current sum details. As we will create a view on current sum in the next video. This check authentication will be the first thing that you're going to do before all these other steps in order to get whether the user has been authenticated or not. If the user has been authenticated, we're going to be directed directly to the credentials of the song without going through the hassle and authorizing once more. However, if you have not been authorized, we're going to be directed to the authentication layer. And then you're going to go to the process that I have told you about. So the authentication URL, then you're going to be directed to our page, and then that's when you'll be redirected to the current song details. I hope you can see the process in which the Spotify API has been created. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to work through. To get more information from it, actually, just go to the developer Spotify.com and the web API part. I believe that that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you'll stay tuned for the second episode. Thank you very much.